Good morning, good morning. Just out here on a run today. It's beautiful, beautiful day. And I want to talk about healing past hurts and traumas. So it's like, you're going through life and everything seems to be like wonderful, and something happens. There's like, we call it like an offense against us, right? So somebody lies to us, somebody goes back on their word, somebody like says something that like triggers something in you, and you just like lose it, like a trauma response, right? It's like, it's almost like feels like an overreaction, and this has been happening to me a lot, and that's why I'm talking about it. Like I get so upset over like something small that will happen, right? And it's like, why am I so upset about this? Like, why is this, is this like am I having like a mental health issue? Like, what's going on? And I've come to find that, what it is when I get so upset over something, small, it's because it was a past trauma of something that had happened previously, like that, something that somebody had done to me before that I haven't healed from. So like, it's like, well, how do you heal that stuff, right? Because you didn't even know it was in your life anymore. Like that was, 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Like, why is this still affecting me in this way, coming out in a new way, and it's really hard. And so I've been meditating and praying on like, how do we heal from past traumas, especially when, that chapter of our life is closed, right? And I know some of the things, we do in recovery, like step work is really good. Some of the stuff that we do in church is good, pray, ask God to take it away. But I found that I really need to identify the emotion from, where it's coming from. So like for me, fear is like a huge thing. Fear of, being hurt again, fear of feeling that same feeling again. Fear of abandonment, fear of, whatever. Most people who are in recovery, we know from doing step work that a lot of our character defects, everything stems from fear, right? So it's like combating that. Of course, the opposite of that is faith, right? So I'm like, oh, well, I just need to like have faith in God, but that doesn't always work, right? You can't just pray away your fear all the time, right? So I've really been praying and meditating on this, and like, this is like some really deep digging, but like going back to the first time that I felt this particular fear, emotion, abandonment, insecurity, rejection, whatever it is, going back to the very first time that I felt that. We call it Holy Spirit ministering in the church. So you go back to that very first time and you like meditate on it and almost have to like relive it. And it can be really hard, and you should never do that without having, a foundation and a network, because it can be very traumatic. It can be really hard. So that is what I found has like really been helping, is like identifying the core emotion for it, the core feeling, whatever it is, because sometimes when we're in these traumatic responses, we are just like all over the place. We don't know what we're feeling, just super heightened emotion. It can almost feel like a bipolar episode or something, and so really making sure that you're connected and you have a network to talk about it, and then going back, making sure you journal about it so that you have have it on paper, because we put it on paper, we process it, right? And going back to that time when it first happened, I mean, it could have been, when you were 5, when you were 4, you might not even remember, you know what I mean? And asking God, or asking the Holy Spirit to kind of like guide you through it. Like, oh, okay, this is the first time that I have felt this emotion. This is why I felt it. This is the person who was, who was there when I felt this emotion. And then taking the initiative, making a choice, making a decision that you're going to forgive the person for doing it, right? So we're going to forgive forgive the person for doing it, and trying to let it go, and asking God to be like, okay, God, take this from me. Take this from me. I recognize it. I went through it. It's almost like you have to get through to get to. So that's what I'm working on now. Hopefully that helped you. Unforgiveness and traumatic responses are, something that I feel like we're going to have to deal with our whole life. And look, this is not just for recovery people. People in recovery, yes, we may have had different kind of trauma and stuff than others, but everybody has been through this. Everybody has been through fear. Everybody has been through trauma. So just, continue to pray through it. Make sure that you have a network to hold you accountable, to kind of check on you. How are you doing? I know you're doing this work, this inner work, this deep inner work where you really have to dig into yourself. But it's worth it, because we have to go through it, right? We can't just keep carrying it. We're supposed to give our burdens to Jesus. Jesus says, cast your burdens on me, right? Well, it's hard to cast your burdens on him when you don't know exactly what the burden is, right? So we have to dig deep and be specific and be detailed, so we know what we're dealing with here, and pull out those roots of root of bitterness, the root of unforgiveness, whatever it is, pulling it out. And we have to go back into that moment to do that. So hope you guys got something out of this video. Thanks for letting me share what I'm going through and stuff, and you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you soon.